Sean Payton's master plan is starting to come together for the Denver Broncos. But before we talk about that, guys, I want to thank the affiliate partner for today's video, Green Gridiron Helmets. Use code DENSYN, DENSYN, link in the description down below to save off your first purchase on authentic NFL helmets, from small replicas like this one to full-size helmets. Again, that is code DENSYN, DENSYN, to save off your first purchase from Green Gridiron Helmets. Thank you so much to them. And now back to your regularly scheduled content. When Sean Payton got to Denver, he said that he wanted to revitalize this team in the trenches, and that's how he likes to build football teams from a philosophical perspective. And over these past couple of years, since Sean Payton has been here, the Denver Broncos have invested heavily in the trenches. Good football teams win and lose football games in the trenches, and a lot of teams just don't realize that in the NFL. The Cincinnati Bengals are a prime example where Joe Burrow is putting together an MVP caliber season. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, all of those guys, they are really helping Burrow out, but it's all for nothing because their defensive line sucks outside of Trey Hendrickson. They have a piss-poor run defense. Outside of Hendrickson, they have no pass rush. Their secondary sucks, but that's outside of trenches, obviously. And then you look at their offensive line, that's been an issue for the Cincinnati Bengals really ever since Joe Burrow has been there, even before Joe Burrow got there. The last time I can remember the Bengals having a good offensive line was like 2014, 2015, in those years with Andy Dalton, when they had guys like Andrew Whitworth and guys like that protecting him. That's the last time that I can remember the Bengals having a good offensive line. The Denver Broncos have invested heavily in their offensive line these past couple of years, and this video is not to discount what they've done on the defensive side of the ball with their defensive line, but just for this video, we're going to focus squarely on the offensive line, and you look at how much money they've invested. They have invested nearly $70 million a year in the offensive line, with the news that Garrett Bowles has gotten a contract extension. He now leads the clubhouse with $20.5 million a year in average annual value, followed by Quinn Miners at 18, Mike McGlinchey at 17.5, Ben Powers at 12.875, and then Luke Wattenberg, he is making the least by far, still on his rookie contract at just under $1 million a year. So almost $70 million a year invested in this offensive line, and it's really paying off, especially in terms of pass protection. I know that some fans will harp on the offensive line for picking up too many penalties, but that's just going to happen sometimes. Offensive linemen are going to get beat, even the best ones in the NFL, and I would much rather a lineman eat a 10-yard penalty than get beat and give up a sack and have my quarterback get his head chopped off. I don't want my quarterback to miss time, so I would much rather, if my lineman gets beat, have him hold. You get to repeat the down anyway, as opposed to taking a sack, or in the run game, as opposed to taking a massive loss and losing a down, you just take the massive loss. I would much rather my linemen hold in that situation. That just happens sometimes. And yeah, occasionally they will pick up stupid penalties like false starts and personal fouls. We saw Luke Wattenberg pick up a personal foul in that game against Cleveland as an example. Those are stupid penalties that need to be cleaned up, and there's no excuses for that. But more than making up for it is how well this team has played in terms of keeping Bo Nix's jersey fresh. Bo's helping the line out in that regard as well. He's not taking any self-induced sacks, but the line is doing their job. Per both ESPN pass rush win rate and PFF pass blocking grades, you look at this composite, the Denver Broncos have the best pass blocking offensive line in the NFL, and it's not even close. Then you look at how that correlates with their run blocking. They're about a league average run blocking unit right now. I do feel like their run blocking does leave a little bit to be desired, and some of that has to do with the center position. I think Luke Wattenberg, he gets pancaked up front too often. I just think that Luke Wattenberg is a little bit of a weak link on that line right now. If there's one area you can upgrade on the offensive line, it's definitely center, and I think that would help your run blocking. So right now, they're about a league average unit in terms of run blocking, but they're literally the best pass protecting offensive line in football, and that's ultimately what they get paid to do, is to keep the quarterback's jersey fresh, and they have done such a good job this year at keeping Bo Nix's jersey fresh, and it all dials back to Sean Payton. Him wanting to build this team up through the trenches, man. That's the right way to build a football team. You can have all these sexy players at wide receiver and running back, tight end. You can have all these sexy weapons, but it's not going to matter if you can't keep your quarterback's jersey fresh and you can't at least be a halfway competent run blocking unit. I pointed to the Cincinnati Bengals as a perfect example. There are plenty of other examples where teams just don't feel like they have to spend money on the offensive line, and you see franchise quarterbacks get beat to hell, and Andrew Luck's probably the most extreme example where they literally beat him into retirement. It was sad because Andrew Luck finally got an offensive line in his last year in Indianapolis. The Colts finally invested in that group, and they've had one of the best offensive lines ever since that point, but it was too little too late in terms of saving Andrew Luck's career. The damage had already been done. The Denver Broncos are approaching this the right way in terms of bringing in their rookie quarterback and having him behind a top-tier offensive line. You're going to deal with some penalties sometimes. You're going to deal with issues in run blocking, but I would rather deal with those kind of issues and have an elite pass protecting offensive line than my offensive line being so-so in pass protection and them being a good run blocking unit and not getting a lot of penalties. It's kind of a trade-off, but it's a trade-off I'm willing to accept because this offensive line really has been fantastic in pass protection, and for me at least, that is the most important area. All right, Broncos country, be sure to leave a like on this video as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. And let me know, guys, do you think that the Broncos could stand to upgrade at possibly the center position as we go into the offseason, or do you think that they're content with a guy like Luke Wattenberg and they want to maintain the continuity with the same 5 guys on the offensive line entering 2025? Drop those comments down below, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts as always. And before we get out of here, guys, I want to tell you about the other affiliate partner for today's video, Whitebeard Signworks. Use code BS30, link also in the description down below, to save $30 off your first purchase on NFL LED team logo signs just like this really cool sign behind me. Again, that is code BS30, link in the description down below to save $30 off your first purchase from Whitebeard Signworks. Thank you so much to both Whitebeard Signworks and Green Gridiron Helmets. And until next time, guys, I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.